That was a pretty darn good pullback, wasn't it? Welcome back, guys and gals. Hope you had a fantastic Tuesday trading session, but it's time to get back to work. We are just getting this week warmed up. We're not going anywhere. We got a big week ahead of us here and a really big day coming tomorrow. It's Tuesday evening, after all. It is the 12th day of April, 2022. My name is Joseph, by the way, and welcome back to your nightly newsletter. Now, if you're watching for the first time tonight, great to have you with me. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for Wednesday's trading session. I got a fantastic video in store for you guys tonight. Charts are all ready in the background, as you'll see soon. I get the oil ready. The Nasdaq's ready. Oh, we got the S&P always ready. Glad to see you are ready to go right here with me. Boy, where do I begin? Had a big reversal on crude oil today. Big move up, big move back down. Who could have ever seen that coming on the Nasdaq and the S&P? Tons of range today, right? Tons of range. You got to love these big volatile days because, boy, we've got potential for some reversals, some breakouts. I'll tell you, there's a lot of exciting trades setting up for Wednesday. Got some big news tomorrow. Got another Fed speaker tomorrow as well. Not to worry. I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in tonight's video. That way you have a roadmap to make some money tomorrow. And you know me, I'll also talk about some stuff to avoid to keep yourself out of trouble. That way you can finish off the day in the green, whether you're trading on your own or you're trading with us tomorrow in the trade room. As always, before we jump in and get this party going, got a lot we're going to cover here tonight on this video. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I publish all the good stuff, all my best trade ideas every evening on this video newsletter. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video and the rest of the week's videos. So make sure you subscribe. And remember, make sure you set those notifications because a lot of this stuff is pretty time sensitive, right? So hit the bell icon. Make sure you're getting updated every time I post something new. Also, how about questions? You guys love asking questions. I love answering them. Drop those questions in the comment section for me. I do personally answer all the questions in the comment section. Don't be shy. Ask those questions if you got them. Don't be shy in the comment section. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in every evening. If you enjoy the video as much as I enjoy making it, do me a favor, hit that like button for me here tonight. Appreciate you guys carving some time out for this nightly newsletter. But should we get this party going? Roll our sleeves up, get to work here tonight. Wednesday, Wednesday's not going to trade itself. Let's get the intro out of the way here, Joe, and let's get this party going here. What do we got going on here for Wednesday? A little wacky Wednesday coming up. It is a little bit wacky Wednesday, actually. Third week of the month. We're going into the Easter weekend here. Could be a bit of a wacky Wednesday. We'll talk about that in a second. Boy, I'll tell you, quite a busy day today, right? Big move down on the S&P, big move down on the Nasdaq, and boy, nice big rally on the crude oil. I'll tell you, oil has a beautiful chart for us tomorrow. Really excited about oil. It's a bull market into a trading range. You can see just a plethora of buying opportunities right now on oil. And you know me, I won't shy away from a short side trade. I do have some concerns though right now about being a seller on crude oil. We'll talk about that here as we go deeper into this. And then what do you think? Is it a good time to be a seller on the S&P and the Nasdaq? Probably not. Doesn't look like a great time to be a seller. We're very bearish right now. But I'll tell you, when you see what I'm looking at on the charts here tonight, you might decide that the easier money is on the buy side, right? The buy side, I'll tell you, this could be a big trap down here. It kind of smells like a trap at these major support levels here for the Nasdaq and the S&P sellers. So don't go walking into that trap right now. Hopefully tonight we'll talk about how to capitalize, how to make some money on this trap at the lows. And we definitely have some breakouts I wouldn't mind looking for as well. The S&P and the Nasdaq, they do have quite different charts as far as breakouts go. So we'll talk about, for example, why a breakout on the Nasdaq will be a much different game plan than the breakout on the S&P. So again, not to worry. We're going to cover all my favorite trades in tonight's video. That way you're ready for Wednesday. But speaking of Wednesday, though, let's make sure we check the game plan for tomorrow. Tomorrow it's kind of your typical Wednesday. Well, it is and it isn't. We have really kind of three big, items tomorrow. We got that PPI report, another inflation number tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time. Now, of course, I have no crystal ball, but I doubt we're going to see as big of a reaction that we saw today. I wouldn't anticipate another 50-point move on the S&P, 100-point move in the Nasdaq. I wouldn't expect that tomorrow. The PPI report is it's kind of like the little brother, little sister of the CPI report. The consumer price index, the one's more sensitive. The PPI number, definitely an important report tomorrow. Probably won't be as big of a catalyst as we saw today. Just kind of be aware of that. That's at 8:30 tomorrow morning. And then, of course, if you're an oil trader like we are, love me some crude oil. We got that weekly inventory report at 10:30 Eastern time. Remember, we're gonna bracket about 10 minutes before, about 10 minutes after. So 10:20 and then about 10:40. That'll be kind of your window of sitting on hands. Definitely looking forward to some trades after that petroleum status report comes out tomorrow. But again, just be careful. 10:20. I usually start waiting, sitting on hands. By about 10:35, 10:40, we'll get back after it. And then Barkin, we get some more Fed speakers tomorrow. We get Thomas Barkin tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern time. Boy, I'll tell you, if he gets the market going half as much as Lael Brainerd did today, we talked about this, right? I mean, who could have ever seen? We kind of knew what to expect. We knew there'd be some fireworks. Brainerd is a high up at the Fed. She is a voter. She's a very common speaker. And so we kind of had a feeling that would be a big market-moving event there. We'll see if Barkin has the same fireworks. We'll see, right? We'll see here for tomorrow. So that is definitely something that we are watching here. And remember, we don't usually have to pay so much attention to these Fed speakers, but because the markets are so obsessed with the Fed and rates and inflation and yada, 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 we do have to kind of pay attention to that stuff right now. But just be aware, typically, though, majority of the time, you're not going to be so obsessed with these Fed speakers. Something to keep in mind, though, also to the next couple days. Remember, we have one of the only days of the year where the markets are fully closed on Friday. New Year's Day, Christmas Day, and you've got Good Friday on Friday. The markets aren't even closed on President's Day or MLK Day or even Thanksgiving. They're always open, at least for a couple hours. They're fully closed, at least the equity markets, the futures markets, the bond markets, kind of the real markets, you know what I mean? They're closed on Friday. So what does that mean for next 2 days? There's definitely a sense of scarcity. If you work at a big trading firm, the big firms that actually move these markets, you've got a deadline, right? And that's the closing bell on Thursday. If you want to get your client accounts, whatever you're working on for your client accounts, you got to get it done the next 2 days. It was a pretty wild day today. I would imagine next couple of days could be really, really busy. That's why I said earlier this week, has potential to really be a great week in our trade room, and hopefully a great week for all of your trade accounts as well. So some news tomorrow. We got that on our radar. Get some Fed speakers or speaker tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get a little more of this volatility, because of course we get a full day off on Friday. Maybe we'll all go to the beach on Friday. All right, back to our charts though here. Let's get this party going. Now I'm going to cover all of my favorite trades across all of these three markets. Whether you trade just one of these markets, a great place to start, or you trade all of these markets like we do in our trade room, you're going to learn something new throughout the entire video lesson here tonight. I'll provide different trade variations, different setup ideas. I don't like to repeat myself over and over, so I try to keep it, some variety throughout the entire video lesson. And remember, I always try to save the best stuff for last. So if you have the time to stick around all the way to the end, I will definitely have a surprise, a bonus there waiting for you towards the end. So don't miss the ending of this. All right, we're going to go S&P, Nasdaq, and crude oil. Why don't we grab the S&P here? What a move with that big move up off the CPA print and then that big collapse back down. Oh my goodness, who could have ever seen it coming? Who could have seen this thing coming? Anyways, what's the most important thing we have going on right now on the E-mini S&P? Well, the bears have control. There's no doubt about that. But as I mentioned though, boy, this could be a trap. This could be the granddaddy, grandmommy of all traps here, right? We had that big move down, which kind of continued into the overnight. We go up and then back down to retest this low. If you're a student of mine, if if you're with us in the trade room, what we say, mission accomplished, mission accomplished. They had that big move down. That's the objective, as we said last night. We go up, the bears sell into it, and we end up back, mission accomplished. At this point right now, we got to get some more information here for the sellers. That's kind of the big thing right now. I don't want to sell right here. This is where we should be getting out of our short positions, not getting into new short positions. That's why I said earlier, it kind of smells like a trap down here. So buyers, I'll tell you, buyers have some really great options right now. Buyers would love to buy a double bottom reversal. Buyers would love to buy a straight reversal here as well. I think the buyers have a lot of great options here right now. The sellers are definitely not knocked out. This is not a bull market. The bears certainly do have options to sell a pullback. This will be a very sensitive pullback here. I say that in quotes. We'll talk about this because this is a tricky pullback, obviously, because you can see there may be a bit of a range up there, a little bit of overlapping there. I didn't think it was a range during the session today, but looking back on it, it looks like they might call that a range here. So obviously, if that range acts like a magnet, this little battle zone right here might not be easy to sell into it. But we'll talk about how to sell that. I got a good plan of attack for you. Don't you worry. And then also too, how about a breakout? So here is one of the many differences between the Nasdaq and the S&P today. Look at all this open space down here we have on the S&P, right? It's like one of those layback seats in first class, kick the feet up, plenty of open, like a Cadillac down there, nice and wide open as we go lower until we reach this next major turning point. So the sellers, I'll tell you, sellers have a great shot for a breakout going lower here as well. So, I wouldn't count out the bears here one bit, but we gotta be patient. The buyers have the more opportunities right now. The sellers definitely have, obviously, the momentum on their side here right now. So how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Let's talk about if the market goes higher here, because I think there's some great money to make here on both sides of the market. So as we pull back here right now, what would you say is the concern? What is the concern? The concern is probably not momentum, but the concern is that we have to, let's put it this way. The sellers already retested those lows. So really at this point, there probably isn't going to be a lot of bears that want to sell right there. I would imagine you're going to see a lot more bears want to sell back up off these big highs again. So if I really don't expect it to be a lot of bears waiting up here, I'm going to want to use the buyers to kind of fuel this move lower, ultimately. So what I want to do in this situation is, and there's a couple different variations of this on the NASDAQ, so you'll see the difference in the NASDAQ as well, is I want one of those classic two-try failures. This is exactly where, this is one of the classic cases where a two-try failure is a perfect recipe on this one. Because again, this is not a great place to, it's a good place to sell a pullback, but in context, it's not a really great situation to sell a pullback. So what I'm going to do is, if I can't get enough sellers interested in this, what I'll have to do is I'll have to get the buyers to give me a little bit of some fuel, right? And how do we do that? We need the buyers to try. I always use that two-try failure. Two-try failure. Once those buyers come in, they try once, they try twice. Now we've got all their stops. Right? So again, we probably have maybe 2/3 of the bears there, right? Maybe a half of the bears will be there to sell short. But if I can get the buyers to come in and try a couple times now, because where do they want to go? They want to go back into this range. And I kind of agree, to be very honest. I'm hoping we can go back into that range. I'll talk about how I plan to do that here in a second. But I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not in the prediction business. I'm in the reaction business. So if we start seeing the buyers struggle here, their stops are waiting right below that low. Remember, make no mistake, this is a very strong move down. There's no discounting that. Yeah, it didn't go quite far enough to really give us enough evidence to really want to be aggressive selling down here, but I think this is a great spot for that two-try failure. Now remember, these two-try failure patterns, they love to snap down and then one more little trap entry before we retest that low. So these are kind of a follow-up, either an add-on, or sometimes we don't get a good signal off that high and we hit that trap as we go here. So again, strong move down. We know the odds are pretty good. They're going to want to retest that low anytime we see a strong move in one direction. I'm worried about location of this. So buyers try once, buyers try twice. We're roping in those buyers. We're selling that two-try failure using their stops to fuel this move going lower. And then as the market goes lower, watch that little trap that comes in. And you guys probably know by now, I love traps. Traps are where the best entries are, right? And we, of course, I know most of you guys and gals have already taken the free trading course. You've already learned about traps and two-try failures. You know all the rules. You know what they look like. But remember, if you're here for the first time right now, or if you haven't taken that free course yet, if you haven't learned all the setups yet, if you're one of the few that haven't yet, what I'll do is I'll put a little link here for you, a little pop-up for you in the upper right-hand corner. If you're like me and you hate missing the best trades each day, or you're taking too many losses, or you're making too many mental mistakes, or you're trying to get a roadmap to transition from being a full-time worker to a full-time trader, that roadmap that I give you inside of our free trading course, that little pop-up right there, that is exactly, that roadmap will get you on the right track. You'll learn all my four entry patterns, all the rules for it, so you know when to take them, when to skip them, and I've got like hundreds of examples of those setups of how we apply them to our favorite markets in the trade room. So definitely grab the link up there. You're going to love that free class. That way, when I say deep pullback, two-try failure into traps, baby, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to on that short setup. Now, let's get to the good stuff. How do we get to the long side here? What would be a buy as we could look here? A couple ways I can buy this. This is likely to be a short squeeze, okay? Likely to be a short squeeze, a short covering rally. Whenever I think about a short squeeze, there are two reversal patterns I think about. One is the pop and grind. The pop and the grind. Whenever things pop and grind like this, you will see a lot of these in our trade room. We see a lot of these lately. Pop and grinds. What do you do when it pops up? Right? And it starts to grind higher like that. Draw that channel nice and tight off that high. Drill it down, find that big low, and then look left, find a prior swing, and then try to get underneath that prior swing. That's where the good stuff is. Now, a lot of times, these will be traps. The bears will come in. They'll try to short off that moving average. What you want to remember is once it starts to grind, that's usually the sign that the bears who are in the market here are getting out. That's usually what causes those grinds. It's not the buyers buying it, it's the sellers getting out, and that's what causes it to kind of float as it goes higher here. And that's why everybody wants that trap, everybody wants that failure, and of course that pullback combination. Where do we think this market wants to go? Where would I put my targets on this? I would definitely think about taking some profit off around that area 52, give or take, and then of course up at that big high. If the buyers really get going tomorrow, watch that 44.83 half. That is the prior week close. Remember, tomorrow's a Wednesday. Remember that? So we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Fridays, the markets are closed here. When we get to Wednesday each week, the previous week's close becomes it becomes a gold mine, really, in the markets, for, in this case, for a reversal. That is one type of reversal I would like here on the S&P. I'm going to talk about the second one on the Nasdaq, right? Well, so we'll cover more on the Nasdaq here for another type of reversal, right? This is the pop and grind type of reversal. There's more to buy though. There's definitely more to buy here. Okay, let's say we go up. Let's say those buyers try a couple times, we sink back down and we take out that low. Again, remember, anytime we see a strong move down like this, the mission accomplished is to retest that low. Once we get that up and down, or really in all reality, it could be just up and down. It doesn't need to be all the way up like that. But once we get back to retest this low, then I think we've got probably a much more lucrative opportunity here, which would be what we call a crown reversal pattern. Now, crown reversals are pretty simple. What you want here is, and again, remember, we're very bearish right now, so you got to really be careful. You always want to make sure you do it at a major turning point. Okay, this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm a little bit hesitant to be a seller on oil right now. You'll see there's one very big difference between the crude oil chart to reversal and the S&P and Nasdaq. So make sure you keep on watching tonight, and you'll see what I mean a little bit later in this video. But once we get that retest of that low, now let's see if we can get those bears to try a couple times. See if they try it once. See if they try it twice. If I can get these bears, remember, why would we want to sell right into that low? Good question. Good question. Not a great risk-reward ratio. Not a very high odds of success. It's probably going to be rookies. It'll be traders who don't know any better, and because of that, they can't defend themselves. They don't have a big account to sell more as it goes higher. So a lot of times the stops they use are really, really tight stops. Just like we did when we were rookie traders. We used tight stops because we don't want to lose too much money. Those tight stops become rocket fuel for this move now. So once those bears try once, try twice here, what I'll do is I'll draw a little trend line off that low, wait for that nice strong, signal candle, and then, remember, your job is not done yet. We're buying that reversal off the low, and then as we go higher here, this is where the good stuff happens. Now what we'll do is we'll go out, we're going to find a new channel. Now this new channel usually comes off of one of these swings, right? It comes off the swing there, mark that high, mark that low. And again, I always recommend drill down to your faster time frame, find those prior swings that line up right around that new channel. It's got these hidden channels. Get underneath the moving average, trap in those bears, trap setup, failure setup, pull back, and hopefully lift off here from there. I really, really like that kind of bounce reversal, right? Trapping in those bears off of that low, again, because of where we are. Because of where we are. I like that setup a lot there on the buy side, going higher, going back up. And again, I think this range here might be acting as a bit of a magnet. Okay, as we go lower, how do we sell it as we go lower here? Well, as I mentioned before, we have got a lot of wide open space going lower here. What would be some breakouts we could look for? Well, we just talked about that pop and grind reversal, okay? We talked about that pop and that grind going higher. That will also work here on the S&P. Let's say it breaks down and starts to grind down. Same exact example here, same situation. We're going to draw that trend line right off that low. Okay, don't go trying to find these big channels. Okay, don't waste your time. When you see a pop and grind like that, when it grinds down like that, draw that trend line nice and tight off those lows. Find that recent kind of big, sore thumb top up there and put it right around those highs. Then wait patiently. Wait to get above those prior swings, get above that moving average, trap in those buyers, right? Buyers will come in, they'll think, oh shoot, we're reversing. No, right? That grind is the proof you need. We're looking for that trap short, that buyer failure short, that pullback combination short. Remember, I'm just simply drawing on the screen right now. I cover all the details of those entry setups. You'd be foolish not to grab that free course if you haven't done so already. You'll learn the entire roadmap there. Where would the target be on this? Where's the target? Well, before we go to the NASDAQ here, one thing. Remember, the first leg and the third leg. This is a really easy way to find targets when you don't really have much else to work with. The size of that first leg down and the size of that third leg down. The middle leg is the one that's oftentimes kind of the oddball. Okay, just be aware of that. So the size of that first leg, that'll tell me where that next kind of short-term target is. We know where they want to go. They want to get down here. But oftentimes you'll see it'll break down, grind down, pop up. The size of that leg becomes that leg, and that'll give you the idea of how to really fine-tune that exit there. All right, guys. So we'll see what we get here on the S&P. But obviously, again, I would love to get some reversals on this. We'll see, though. We'll see. Again, it's a very bear market right now, so I'm definitely not. We'll wait and see what we get. That's all we can do as traders. We can't predict anything. How about the NASDAQ right now? Boy, the NASDAQ looks pretty darn similar. There are some certain, some definite differences on the NASDAQ. What's the most important thing on the NASDAQ? Same thing. Same thing. We're definitely bearish. But mission accomplished, right? I mean, isn't that what we said earlier? Mission accomplished. We had that big move down, pop it back up, and drop it right back down to those lows. Anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we expect a retest of that low in this case, and shocker, right? That's exactly where the day ended up here today. So again, this smells like a trap. It smells like a trap. I would not want to be a seller here right now. We have to, the bears would love to sell a pullback. The bears would love to get some breathing room off of this, but you can just see it. You can see this pullback is going to put them right in kind of a difficult spot. One thing you'll notice in the NASDAQ, which is a pretty big difference in the S&P, is it does look like there's a trend line coming up here. Okay, this trend line could really be a very important factor for tomorrow. So we'll definitely talk about how that trend line kind of plays into it. So we know the bears, right? The bears want to sell that pullback right now, carefully, of course. The buyers, what do the buyers want to do? Oh yes, this is exactly the scenario where one of those reversals would be in play. A double bottom reversal, absolutely, that's on our radar here for tomorrow. How about a breakout? What's a breakout look like? Okay, so here's one again. Talk about traps down here. Here's one big difference between the S&P and the NASDAQ. The S&P has blue skies here, but the NASDAQ is not. Right, the NASDAQ has that 13,850 area. That is a big prior high, and we definitely don't want to be selling right into it. So we've got to get a really blast of a breakout. We got to get a really good pop, and I got a pretty good idea for you guys on that one. So we'll talk about that here on the NASDAQ. That's one very big clue here for a breakout. But other than that, though, pretty similar as you can see. As we go higher here, let's talk about kind of how to buy it, how to sell it. As we go higher right now, what you're going to want to look for is to use this trend line. This trend line is your best friend. And so as we pop up here, I still would like to see these buyers try once, try twice, but I'd like to get that short off the underbelly of that trend line. These are kind of what we call two-legged pullbacks in the sense that they've got one leg and two legs. Not every pullback has two legs to it. A lot of times the market will go lower and it pulls back straight line. Sometimes though it pulls back with two legs to it. And when that happens, you draw that trend line up the underbelly and simply use that trend line as resistance on the way back down. Now, in case you're wondering, what if we don't get that trend line? What if it doesn't work? What if we go up like this? What if we go 1, 2, and then we just simply collapse back down to that low? Remember what I said earlier, that trap setup is a great add-on here on the way back to retest the low. So let's just say, for example, we don't, again, that trend line's right there. I'm not going to sell right into that trend line. I'd love to go underneath it and sell off that trend line back to retest the low, because again, just like the S&P, it is a very strong bear move down, and so it would make perfect sense to retest that low here. But again, I would like to use that trend line to my advantage or use that trap setup to my advantage as we go. And again, we've talked quite a bit about traps as we go here. On the move higher here, again, like I mentioned earlier, no predicting here, but this looks like it's going to be easier to be a buyer on this. Do we see a pop and grind? Pop and grind, or pop and grind nice and high? Mark up that high, mark up that low, find that trap, that failure, that pullback combination. First leg, third leg will really help you get a good idea of where those targets are going to be. We know where they want to go. They want to go back up to retest the high. Here's another one. This will also apply, same thing, over to the S&P as well. A two-try trap. This is a short squeeze waiting to happen. It's a short squeeze waiting to happen. What do we always say for a two-try trap or a two-try breakout? Strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Traps, baby. That's the way we do it, right? This is one of my favorite trades in our trade room. It's very, very common. Now remember, there's a very big difference between this one. Strong move up, shallow pullback, lower high. Don't fall for that one, okay? That's not the same pattern. That lower high is a big, big problem. Why? Because now this is one try, this is two try, yeah, and we're probably going right back down again, right? So it's got to go up, strong pop, okay? This will look very assertive. Okay, it may not be as big as that one, but it'll be pretty assertive. It'll be pretty punchy. It'll feel like, oh shoot, something's changed. And so it'll pop up there, really close nice and strong there. Then we'll see that pop up, that shallow pullback. The shallow pullback is what drives people crazy. It creates the FOMO. Nobody gets their 23.6% pullbacks. Their 38.2 pullbacks. It keeps going. And the higher high is the confirmation. The higher high is what confirms it's not just a V top. Because, we do see a lot of those here and there. So that strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high, traps, baby. I love this trade. I definitely love this trade here. Another one that we may see here. In fact, you know what? Let's hold that for the oil. All right, I've got one more that I think we could use here. I got a couple more breakouts we'll talk about. Why don't we hold that for the oil? All right, give you guys a reason to keep on watching. So pop and grind, two try trap. Love that one. Okay, love that one. And then what else can we do here? What if we go up, we retest that low? What do we say? Mission accomplished. Now what? Yes, let those bears bless their souls. Let those bears wrap that rope right around their neck. Let those, I know I hate to say it, but let those inexperienced traders, let them dig that grave themselves, okay, and then hit them right where it hurts. I know. Sometimes it feels bad. It feels bad picking stops off, but that's your job, unfortunately. That is your job out there. Don't feel bad about it. So one try, two tip the bears, and then again, as we pop, stops get run. Buyers are buying off the low. Sellers are now becoming buyers because they're getting the heck out of the way, and this market rips higher. As it races higher, what do? You don't post a screenshot on Instagram how much money you're making. You don't post that crap, right? What you do is you go out and you find that new channel. You find that new channel. You get your feet off the desk. And you look for that first test, right? Because first test is the best test. Two try failure, that reversal back up, and we're grabbing that trap, we're grabbing that failure, that pullback combination. Again, I'm just simply, I'm simply kind of illustrating it right now. You'll see a lot more examples of that inside that free video course that I mentioned linked up overhead. Okay, pretty straightforward there. Okay, what if we did this? What if we took out that low into this area? See, I like this one too. This area is kind of like, again, it's a slightly different spot than the S&P has. So what if we saw, what if we go up, back down? Can I do it down here? Absolutely. I think that's probably not going to be enough momentum. Now, if it goes up and rolls through it all, then obviously we're not trying to buy this. But if it pulls back here and not bounces, but holds this area here, this is exactly where, again, stay out of this trap. Be aware of this little fake out breakout here. 1, 2, run those stops, pop it right back up. Find that new channel and do not hesitate on that first pullback. As we always say, you may not have the confidence or the setup to grab that reversal. But once those bears try a couple times and you see those stops getting hit and it pops up like that, that first test is a very, very reliable trade. It's one of those must-take trades. It's like LeBron James hitting a free throw. That is what you're paid to do. Is grab that first pullback. So we that's definitely something we're watching for as we go here. Now, what would it look like going lower here in the Nasdaq? I definitely think a pop and grind will work. We've talked about that before on the S&P. Just be aware though, this pop and grind needs to really push through this area here. I also think too that a move into this low, I think a 1, 2, 3 breakout. So take out that low, hold the pullback and blast going lower. This would also apply to the S&P 500. Okay, this could also be right here too. Let's say, for example, they pull it back and they really blast, going lower like that. That will be one of those 1, 2, 3 breakout patterns. 1, 2, 3 breakout. Remember, we're not going to sell this pullback, but once those bears show proof of that breakdown, what do? We mark up that low, we mark up that high, we wait for that pullback. My favorite entries will be just above prior swings. Usually it's just above the moving average for a trap setup, a failure setup, and remember the first pullback off the moving average, you'll get all the indicators and all that stuff inside of that free course too. So again, got that first test off of that channel. What is more likely here would be a move into that low, a pullback to the moving average, and a blast from there. That's probably more likely the way this chart looks right now, unless something really drastic happens in the first few hours of the Asian session. Mark up that low, mark up that high, go find those prior swings, and then hit those traps, those failures, and those pullback combos. Remember, first leg, third leg, that'll help you dial in where that next short term or medium term target's going to be, and then where do we think the bears want to go here? Look at all the open space here. So if they can break this area, which it should be pretty easy for them to get down to that 13,500 in the next few days. That's a major low there at 462. So we definitely have space to go. But again, be careful with this area here. I still think we've got some great long trades coming off of that low because of the fact it's another major low as we go there. All right, I think we're looking pretty good here on the Nasdaq. We've covered most of the bases here. I want to go over a couple more of these bull breakouts though with you on the crude oil. And before we jump into the crude oil, if you're still watching this video right now, I always like to kind of commend you guys for watching this deep into the video. If you're still watching right now, you are the person I make these videos for. What's the biggest obstacle standing in your way? Would you let me know in the comment section? I would love to know what's the biggest obstacle? Is it your mindset? Is it finding the right levels of support and resistance? If you could wave a magic wand and you could fix one part of your trading and it'll make everything easier tomorrow, what would it be? Would you let me know in the comment section? I'm always looking for more ideas of different videos I can do here, things I can help with on this nightly newsletter. And since you're still watching right now, you're the person I really care most about, because this is why I do these videos. You're the one dedicated to your trading, not just looking for a 5-minute easy fix. So I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. So do me a solid there. Hit that comment section. Let me know in the comment section. And while you're down there, hopefully you'll subscribe and hit that like button while you're down there. Okay, what's the back to charts here? What's going on in oil right now? What would you say is the most important thing here on the oil? This is a pretty easy one. It is a bullish momentum market, very strong move, and it basically went sideways in a range. This is kind of we always talk about how trends love the number 3. And this is a very good example of that. One leg up. The first leg is usually the measuring leg. Okay, first leg up. There's that kind of weird middle leg right there. It doesn't quite make see that right there? Remember, first leg, third leg. See how that middle leg is kind of a weird one? You know what I mean? It doesn't look the same. It's a little bit smaller, sometimes bigger. That's the first leg right there, and that's the third leg right there, and there's your measured move. It makes perfect sense that the buyers would take profit at their measured move. It's also right above 100, and then go sideways here. So we got a sideways range. There are 3 pretty easy ways to trade a bull market into a trading range here. The buyers have all the momentum right now. Buyers would love to buy the shallow pullback. If you want my hope, if there is a trading god listening up there, please, I'd like to get 98.50. That'd be great. That's a great prior resistance area we could use as support. Buyers would love that. And look at all the open space we have up here. Talk about blue skies. All the open space overhead. I'll tell you, it feels like a stiff wind right now could drive this market to 105. Now, we talked about this last night, how there was a lot of different kind of variables right now. We've had, and pardon me, I'm not fully informed on this, but we have a big chunk of China that has been locked down ultimately, right? We talked about that last night because of a resurgence in a new COVID variant. I'm not sure how many cities are locked down right now, but I think it's part of Beijing, right? So there's been a lot of people who have been locked down, and that may have been a big reason why oil was able to get that big drop as well. So we're seeing that COVID cases numbers start to come down. They're talking about, letting people, unlocking the lockdowns, if you will, for the lack of a better word. And so that definitely looks like we may have seen a little bit of that today. We also, of course, heard not very encouraging news out of Ukraine as far as peace talks go. Putin came out today and basically says we will finish our military operations there. I think the quote was, talks are at a dead end right now. So I think that may have also been a little bit of a a bump up. Let's face it. We sat here. I stand here. We some of us sat, I'm sure, but we stood here just 24 hours ago and we looked at this chart and what did we say? Something's fishy. Wasn't that exactly what we said last night? We said 24 hours ago, we said something's up here. This does not make any sense. This market should be lower. And surprise, surprise. It's amazing how sometimes what doesn't happen is oftentimes the most important clue. And boy, wasn't that true coming out of oil last night. So, that was a very long-winded way of saying we're bullish, and it definitely kind of it makes sense that it would be. Now, how about the sellers? The sellers have to be careful right now. One big problem I have being a seller is obviously momentum here at this point, but we are not at a major turning point. Okay, we talked about how on the S&P and the Nasdaq, we're sitting right at those major lows. And for the Nasdaq situation, there's even another major low right below it. So I can get excited about reversals on the S&P and the Nasdaq. What level do we have here? It's not even sitting at 100 for crying out loud. It's at 101 pretty much. There's nothing over here. There's nothing here. So we've got, like I said, a kind of a stiff wind could definitely push this thing, going higher here. So I'll be very careful with a reversal until something changes, until we can get a momentum shift here on the crude oil. All right, Joe, get on with it here, bro. Where's the money at? Where's the money at? So it's a pretty simple game plan here for tomorrow. I don't think that trend line is going to help us out right now. What you want to think about now is two types of pullbacks. One is going to be a modest pullback. Get into some of these support levels below that trading range. In that situation, you can trap in those bears with a failure pattern, and then you can trade that first pullback on the way back up to retest that high. There are two ways to make money on that pullback. My favorite, personally, is the failure setup. Again, you wait for the pullback, get underneath the moving average, let those bears try to sell it short for whatever reason they decide it is, and then we'll buy into those stop losses. A simple failure pattern. And then one of my favorite kind of add-ons to it, after we see those bears get trapped in, is then we start going higher, find that new channel off the high, and then grab that first pullback. Okay, we call this trade the turn in our trade room. Okay, it's a failure pattern off that low, and then trade the turn as it goes. And this would ideally be a trap setup or a failure setup or a pullback setup off of that low. We'll know obviously tomorrow once we drill down to our faster time frames and take a look there. Another thing you want to think about, like I mentioned earlier, I really hope we get a deeper pullback. Now, what's the problem with a deep pullback? Momentum. It's a great location. This area, that 98 at 98.83 and 98.42, that's a major prior top. So we can definitely look forward to using that as a major support area. The problem, though, is it's going to be a pretty deep pullback. Deep pullbacks are your best friend because they give you a great risk reward. They put a ton of meat on the bone, big carrot at the end of that stick. The problem, though, is momentum. So these are exactly where deep pullbacks are great, but as we always say, they come at a price. Deep pullbacks are fantastic. What's the price, though? The price you pay is momentum. And so we have to wait for those bears to try a couple times. Let them try. Let them dig that grave. Let them wrap that noose around their neck. And then we'll buy into those stop losses for a two-try failure. And then remember, these oftentimes will really snap. They'll really snap and push higher. And so at this point now, you want to find that prior swing. Look for that two-try trap. Right? Remember we said before? Strong move up, shallow pullback, traps, baby. Strong move, shallow pullback, higher high in price, traps, baby. Again, I always like to look for that channel. those channels are money. If you can combine that trap setup or a pullback or a failure off the low of that channel, take that trade. It's a very good trade, very high percentage trade. Where are the targets for this stuff? Always, 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 at least I do, always take a chunk off at the high of that trading range. And then remember, these trend lines coming across, these make for great, great secondary targets, okay? So that's some ways to make money on it as it pulls back. Now, at what point will this pull back, could I sell it? What do you think? Well, not right now as we open up in Asia. What do you think? If this market was to pull back here, at what point could I sell it? You can sell it once they hold the pullback and jump. Okay, remember, it does not matter how strong that pullback is. We saw that today on the S&P and the Nasdaq, right? That big move down. It doesn't matter how strong that pullback is. They have to hold it and go. So if they struggle and fail here, we're still going up. We're still going back up into that trading range. Okay, so if we were to, again, strong run down, deep pullback, the bears come in and they just nail it, right? They jump off that moving average. That is that 1, 2, 3 reversal pattern, right? That's that 1, 2, 3 breakout, whatever the heck you want to call it, right? That 1, 2, 3 move. Strong move down, moving average comes over. Bears don't fail and go back up. They jump off that moving average and roll lower. What do we do at that point? We don't chase it. We mark off that low. We mark off that high. We find those traps. We find those swings. We get the bare minimum, get above that moving average, trap, failure, pullback combination as we go. This could also be a pop and grind. Do not be afraid of a pop and grind. Pop and grind. As long as it pops and grinds through that low, then mark that low, mark that high. You got it. Up and back down we go. Remember, first leg, third leg on these. Where do we think the bears want to go here? Where do the bears want to go? They probably want to go to 95. That's kind of your major range down there. You see this big range down there. I would imagine if this thing reverses, we're gonna want to get down to that 96.5. Big objective there be 95. Absolutely, big round number. 100 from 90. Go from 100 to 95. That'll make perfect sense here. Now, here's something I want to kind of finish up with here. Not maybe finish up with, but I want you guys to be aware of this one as well. What if we go up and then come crashing back down? Okay, this is kind of an advanced variation of this. Right? So we talked about what if we pull back? Well, what you got to remember is if we go up, let's say, and then we come all the way back down again, remember these things. One, the amount of the move up is oftentimes equal to the amount we move down. Okay, that's one thing. That's going to give you a really good kind of area to focus on. Then as we go lower here, this is a very, very strong rotation off that high. And so you want to get into the habit of anytime we start from above a range and come to the other side of it, this is exactly where those 2 try failures, 1, 2, are going to be your best friend. Okay, remember, there's a very big difference in momentum between a move up into a range that pulls back and fails, that you can be very aggressive with. You cannot be very aggressive, or you should be very aggressive with it goes up and comes back all the way down. This one you got to be careful with because these ones love to keep on grinding down. So you don't want to be too aggressive on it. Let them try once, let them try twice and go. Does that make sense? Okay. Again, it could be here, it could be here. It doesn't matter. If it comes rolling off those highs, we call it rotation off the high. It's a really, really important clue when you have a trading range. How about a breakout going higher? Oh, the breakouts are easy. You guys could probably finish the video for me right now. Couldn't you? Right? Strong pop up. Grind going higher. Oh, you know this. Strong pop and grind. Find that trap. Buy that first test. Right? First leg. Third leg. You know this already. What else can we do? Yeah, how about a strong breakup? Strong move up. Shallow pullback. Higher high in price. Traps, baby. Absolutely. 2 try trap as we go. Or a pop-up, a pullback, and a blast off the moving average. 1, 2, 3, breakout. Mark that high. Mark that low. Drill it down. Get underneath the moving average. Trap in those bears. Failure. The easiest money you're going to make is using the stop losses as fuel on that trade. One more. One more. How about a breakout pullback? Oh, absolutely. Breakout pullback would definitely be great for this one. Think about this area right here. Take this out of the way. Put this up here, just like that. And then depending on where this candle closes, that'll be kind of the top of that zone here. Imagine now that really strong breakout. Okay, buyers go, oh shoot, I'm not going to buy way up here. This is way too expensive. I'm going to wait for it to pull back. So we get a V-top, right? Strong move up, really sharp pullback now. Watch that prior area. You're going to almost always be underneath the moving average when that happens. What do? You know what to do here. You let those bears foolishly try. It's not a bear market. I don't care there's a range below us. We get that big blast higher and you want to sell into it? I know this pattern because I used to do this all the time when I was a rookie. I would say, oh, they've gone too far. No, they probably haven't. They probably don't want to buy way up there. They get the strong pop up, that deep pullback. Find these swings and then trap in those bears. Failure, pullback, combination. And remember, first leg, or should I say breakout leg, okay? Breakout leg, measuring leg, okay? Breakout leg, measuring leg. In a trending environment, it's first leg and third leg, okay? Trending environment, first leg, third leg. Breakout situation, it's first leg is the measuring leg. That'll give you that next objective right there. Okay, guys, I promised I would save some of the best stuff for last, and we always have some fun here on these videos as well. The sell side right now, be very careful selling this thing as it tries to go higher. We're not at a major turning point. I would consider if we went all the way down, came back up, retested those highs here, I would consider a 2-try failure off that high at this point, right? Buyers get fed, they take their profit off the high, there's a range below. I would definitely consider that one. In fact, that's a pretty good trade at that point. Okay, but that takes a while. That'll be middle to late morning, maybe after the inventory report tomorrow, if we're lucky. All right, guys. Hope you loved the video tonight. I know I try to keep it fun here for you guys. And remember, this is just the beginning. This is just us having fun, planning our trades. So tomorrow we can trade our plan. Guys, if you're sick and tired of missing the best trades of the day, if you're taking too many losses, making too many mental mistakes, or maybe you just want to be part of a group to trade with every day and have that camaraderie, you're going to love our trade room. We get a great video course to learn the entire system we use in our trade room. I've got a great checklist and worksheet for you to follow with me. All the cheat sheets are there. All I need right now is you. So what I'll do is I get the entire roadmap ready for you. I'll put all the membership links, all the free course links. I'll put everything you need in the description of the YouTube video. So hit up the description, grab those links, get registered. I will hopefully see you tomorrow morning at the opening bell for some Wacky Wednesday. If you have any questions about getting registered or anything along the way, don't be afraid to call the office there. I know I speak fast on these videos, but I'm a pretty laid back guy in real life. So we'll slow it down. We'll make sure you have all the tools you need to get things ready to go, and we'll help you get registered for tomorrow's trading session. All right, guys? In the meantime, though, get out of here. Get some rest tonight. Tomorrow's another busy day ahead of Easter weekend. Get a short week the rest of the week here this week. What will tomorrow bring? We don't know, but we got a game plan ready for it. I'm going to sign off for now. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, and you better be here tomorrow. All righty? Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.